About halfway through my first postdoc, I remember someone telling me that I needed to be careful or I would become a technician. And I found that really upsetting because I thought I would be a very good technician and I really liked helping people. And then in 2018, I got my first technician type role, and my kind of career satisfaction and joy and passion has been on an upward trajectory ever since. When I found open science and then became an open science community manager, to the position I am now, which is as executive director of a cooperative of research community managers. So thinking about who I am professionally, I'm really values driven. I find open science and community like a natural home for the way I think the world should operate. I'm really passionate about research reform, issues around data management and privacy. I love the fact that I've got both qualitative and quantitative research experience, and I'm really driven around efficiency in processes. So what do I do now is I'm executive director of the RCM cooperative, and we aim to build capacity around research community management through training, mentoring, and performing research strategy and cooperative community strategy for other research funding and performing organisations. Since the inception of the cooperative in about 6 months ago, what this has meant in reality is lots of issues relating to physical hosting with our partner at OLS. I've also applied for lots of funding, and we've had a pretty high success rate, including a recent application that I've just put in to fund a dashboard for research community managers to help integrate our processes and collect information about the success of our initiatives. More recently, though, I've had the real pleasure of undertaking some strategy work at McGill. So this is defining objectives for community, measuring success against those objectives, and developing strategy for the groups to help improve their community engagement and management. For this fellowship, my plan is to, against the dashboard that I'm developing, consider the ethical implications of the work that we're doing. So the dashboard involves a lot of integration of data across multiple sources, and this means that there's new issues around data privacy and informed consent that we need to explore. So informed consent in how we collect information across the different community platforms. There's also issues of what happens when people know that they're being monitored across their different platforms. Does that impact their behaviour? There's issues around the risk of misuse of this data after we've collected it. And there's an issue of good hearts law. So once we start measuring something, it stops becoming a good target, and there's a potential that the things that we're measuring, for example, engagement, can become gamified or misused. And understanding the issues in this topic is really essential for trust in the communities that we're working with, because trust is essential for collaboration. So if we do anything in that community to damage the trust that the community participants have in the overall organising structure, that can be really damaging. So to explore these effects, my intention is to host some convening. So that can be in-person events, it could be online participation, hybrid meetings, to get together the most important people in the room, or people who can be impacted by these decisions, and a diverse perspective of voices to understand what their concerns are and develop some mitigations that would make them feel more confident that this work is being conducted with the highest regard for transparency and inclusivity and diversity and participation. When this work, the intention is to do this work with the Turing Way community, and I've already had positive feedback from that community about doing this work with their data and having the conversations with the community. So the intention is for the outputs to be brought back into the Turing Way. So this could be through a Turing Way chapter around management of community metrics, and also updating of the research community managers chapter to include more of the data collection side of things. Ultimately, the solutions and the conversations around the issues that we're collecting, we hope to integrate them into the community dashboard and make sure that our development is done with those things in mind. Looking forward, the reason that I want to do this work of data collection and doing it with the highest regard for ethics and transparency is because we believe that the standardization of ethical research community metrics will be really good for the professionalization of RCMs as a role. It will provide a common language for how we talk about community management work. And once we start measuring these things effectively, then we think that research funders will find it easier to attribute value to the community management and collaboration that we build, which will support a cultural shift towards collaborative research models across the wider research ecosystem.